Absolutely fantastic. A big shout out to the independent investor community. Absolutely. It's great to be with you guys. I'd like to welcome everybody to the fastest 60 minutes on YouTube. So good to be with you guys, man. I have been absolutely too blocked, man, with life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, no doubt. I hope you guys are all doing great. I was just talking to one of my good friends, one of my colleagues on YouTube, Mr. Kyle. With Passive Income Investor. He is in the gallery tonight. So if you guys would like to shoot some questions his way or just stay on afterwards, they will be running a live stream as usual on Friday, looking to foot stomp this topic of investing, what opportunities are out there. Always interesting talking to Kyle, man, because he's really trying to stay fresh on the opportunities that are out there. And it's intriguing to me to speak to Kyle and Matt and many others who have their feelers out there along a lot of different opportunities here. And Bitcoin was that conversation. It's one of those investment avenues that I have yet to pursue. I'm intrigued enough. I've probably done a lot more research than the average bear, and I have my own personal interest in cryptocurrency. But we'll let it continue to just be, and we'll continue to be patient. The whole perspective and philosophy of tonight's live stream will be centered around that long-term mindset. And I know sometimes it's somewhat counterproductive to come onto a live stream every single Friday and talk about, the portfolio's up, the portfolio's down. I certainly don't want people to misconstrue the message and understand that the real impact for me is when I go back a couple years and I look at where I was in a time frame that actually matters when you're looking to quantify what matters in investing. And that is when I go back a couple of years, go back 5 years and ask yourself, and if you're a new investor and you're looking to take on a long-term mindset in the stock market, go back, take a look. If you've got 5 years under your belt, that's really kind of the first increment of measure that matters. Okay. And I know a lot across the YouTube landscape, I think a lot of people want to define the investing or quantify the investing, minute to minute or day to day or week to week. When in all actuality, that stuff really is irrelevant if you're taking on a long-term perspective. Now, if you're looking to trade the market and you're looking to day trade, all the power to you. That's not my angle. I think a lot of investing has to do with what your strengths are, and more importantly, trying to identify what your weaknesses are in investing, and trying to adjust accordingly and align that strategy with what's going to work for you long term. I was just speaking with Bob before the live stream tonight, says going back and forth, this and that. He was against ETFs and doing some swing trading, having some success, doing some of this, some of that, some of this, and some of that. And my thing is, I like to do it all. I like to do it all. Okay. And you say, well, what do you mean, Ryan? What do you mean by doing it all? I mean just that. If you can study up on the benefits of speculation and the risk that exists therein, if you can study up on the benefits, the pros and the cons, make a list. Make a list of the pros and cons of owning cash, right? Make a list of the pros and cons of dividend investing. All right. I see you there, Jay, man. Just give me a thumbs up when you get all dialed in. I'm going to bring J Mac Investing on tonight's live stream. Absolutely. This is kind of an interesting time of the year on YouTube. I'm doing some personal stuff. I disclosed to my private Viper group that I've actually been engaging on a very cool initiative of me. The Independent Investor channel is a soccer coach as well. So we got a game tomorrow. I'm super fired up, and that gives me a great deal of satisfaction, man, working with the kids and trying to provide them a little bit of tutelage and, tell them it's okay to get out of the bedroom and pair away from the electronics once in a while and go kick a ball. But I've got high hopes for tomorrow. So I think we're going to tear it up. I really do. But yeah, a little bit of a leave from the Independent Investor channel, at least over the last couple of weeks. I've got some leave with my regular day job, which I've just been really killing it, really focused on that, and doing some promotional stuff through YouTube. I know that offends some people, but for those of you guys out there that do support, maybe you don't watch it, maybe hit the thumbs up. I want to thank you guys. Okay. That really helps the channel stay somewhat solvent, and it helps provide a little bit of compensation. You guys need to understand, I've been doing YouTube now for a few years. There is a pretty sizable investment in the channel. And that investment, I've always said, has really been devoted toward providing a message to you guys about how I seek my exposure in the market. And I think here, 3 going on 4 years later, it's nice to see some of that compensation come back. And I think it can be, you can not like it. That's fine. You don't have to watch it. But I do thank you guys, especially for those that come on and say, hey, cool video, hit the thumbs up. That helps, because I'm going to continue to do that. It's a nice money generator for us and the family. Truth be told, it's not even for me. I could care less about the money, but it's just a nice step in the right direction for my family. And to each his own. I do tip my hat to success, and it's one small vein of success on the Independent Investor channel. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Jay on. I haven't spoke with him in a couple of weeks anyway. He's been doing his project. I caught a JMac investing video, but it was about sports cards today. I actually enjoy the heck out of that, man. It's somewhat nostalgic for me, but it's pretty cool. But let's bring Jay on and have him talk to the group and let everybody know. He can update us on what's going on and what he's been up to. Mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, JMac Sports Cards. If you haven't subscribed to that channel, I don't know what you're doing. No, it's a different
cool.
thing.
It's fun.
It's fun. Yeah. And really, especially during this pullback, this recent market stuff, it's been fun. I've actually been putting a little bit more effort over there, and I've been investing in sports cards here recently. So we'll see. I'm actually going tomorrow to look at someone's collection. I might buy a big collection. So I think I'm going to vlog that too and put that on the channel. So something different. Yeah, that'd be cool.
It is something different, man. It's great to see you, Jay.
Yeah.
Last couple weeks, I know there was a little bit of a debacle that night. It was after the live stream when I saw your comments, and he was like, Ryan didn't drop me a link. And that particular night, I was kind of in my zone. And I was explaining the next week that I can't really get in that zone very often. Like, I can't just recreate that. I'm not a Joe Rogan. I'm really not that interesting. But I feel like when I am interesting, I gotta stay with it. But
it was all good. It was all good. We both wound up getting jumping on with the Passive Income Investor Show. So
that was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. So what's the genre of the sports card collection you're going to look at? Because I've seen a few. See, I was into baseball cards, so I have had my eyes on a lot of Mickey Mantle, a lot of Willie Mays. That was my thing. I've met Willie Mays. I have his autograph. I was a sport card collector when I was little. Now my kid's into Pokemon, so go figure.
Well, yeah, that's a good one too. Good area to be in. It's like it's basketball and baseball, and it's like I think late 70s through maybe early 90s collection. So it's not new stuff, but it's not real vintage. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, and so it's a guy who just I don't think he knows what he's got. But I'm not gonna take advantage of him. But I'm gonna, it's still. When you buy something like that, because I don't think it's a lot of real high value cards. So it's one that's going to take a lot of effort to flip, to wind up selling. And, it's one of these kind of, I think it's a collection that I probably could double my money on, but it's not something that's going to be like an overnight flip, So, we'll see. We'll see. I got to get there and see the condition of the cards.
That'll be fun, man. I wish I was going with you. Because I love that stuff. I had a friend look at my collection from when I was a boy. I still have my collection. And I've got some stuff that's worth some money, some Shaq O'Neal rookies, some things like that, And he looked at them, and I couldn't appreciate how much condition has to do with the value. Like, it's crazy with the grading piece to it. If you have a raw collection, it really doesn't seek out the high premium unless you're willing to invest the money into getting it graded. So kind of
Yeah.
cool stuff. Well, good luck tomorrow, Jay. That's awesome. And like I said, man, kick over, subscribe to the channel. If nothing else, if you're not into sports cards, I am. So
Yeah, we done ran someone off. Someone's in the comments saying that this ain't what they came for. So
that's okay. I this live stream is interesting. I did throw an invite out to a troll this week who was coming on and bad mouthing the channel, and I always invite them on the live stream, and they can come and speak with me face to face like a gentleman if they want. But I've never had anybody take me up on that. So, but
yeah, I think you've got enough wherewithal. You could talk them in circles and have fun with them. I'd be up there arguing with them. So
yes, you would. Yes, you would. Fantastic.
But I heard you say I've been also as well. I pulled back on the channel some, not just because of what's going on. I've personally been really busy at my day job, and I've only this last 2 weeks, my only 3 videos, they've all been CEO interviews. I haven't put out any regular content. I mean, I've had ideas and I wanted to, but it just, I wind up, it'll be 6 o'clock, and then my wife's hollering dinner time, and then eat dinner, and then me and the kids and my wife watch some TV. And I'm like, man, I don't want to make a video now at 9 o'clock at night. So I
don't know, man. What you speak of is the truth, and people need to kind of understand. Relatively speaking, at least let's put myself in that camp. I feel like my project is relatively small on YouTube. I don't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and I'm totally okay with that because this isn't really this isn't my bread and butter. I don't do this to put food on the table, and nor would I ever aspire to doing that. I know some folks in the community here are trying to make a run at it, and I'll be their staunchest advocate, but I can tell you one thing, it ain't for me. And I'm in it for the long haul. I'm looking for this project to be around 10, 20 years from now. So I'm not in a rush. You know what I'm saying? And if I want to pull back, I pull back. If I piss a few people off that come into the gallery that don't want to sit and listen to me and my philosophy about wealth building, then no problem. I'm not for everybody. That's totally fine. But it's a treat for me to have you on, Jay. That's the truth of it. So we can get into the investing discussion if you'd like, if that's what people have tuned in for. I probably did myself a favor. I haven't done a whole lot of portfolio moves, to be honest with you. I'm investing. I'm buying the dip on Hyliion to be frank. Add more shares here. Yeah. And it really never been so bullish. I did drop the Hyliion.com. As a matter of fact, I'm going to drop it again into the comments thread. And if you guys are at all interested, you don't have to go out and just rush and fall over yourself to buy this company. I'm dropping it in the comments now. Go over and check out their website because it has changed night and day for followers and actual coverers of the company like myself. Go check it out. It's incredible. When you can go down the line of 5 and go Peterbilt, Volvo, International, and pick the chassis that you want to make into the Hypertruck, it's getting real. It's getting real. The issue is that it's not going to stay in the early phase for very much longer. So I'm not telling you it's not going to go to 0. Not going to say that. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's going to 100 because I think both of those scenarios are irrelevant. I have my own personal opinion about it. Jason, I'm not putting out videos on the company anymore. And I very rarely mention it except for a few moments on the live stream, but I've never been so bullish on a company. I'm super excited about what's going on. I'm super excited, but
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the companies, the SPACs have been really, really decimated, and I mean, there's some real fire sales right now in a lot of these companies that are coming public via SPAC. I mean, and I actually, my next video is queued up that it isn't filmed yet. I created the thumbnail. That's what I usually do. I usually get the
Nice.
idea for the video, and I create the thumbnail, and then I begin to plan off of the thumbnail, and then sometimes I'll go back and tweak the thumbnail. But so yeah, so my short to anyone who follows me or anyone who considers himself a SPAC investor, my short and long of it is just like with Hyliion, because now me being so tied to the SPAC deal, I see a whole bunch of other especially on Twitter. There's a lot of these other people who look at SPACs like ticker symbols. They're not even considering what's the meat on the bone, right? So or lack thereof. So people aren't really doing a lot of. I'll just say it like this: a lot of SPAC investors aren't really doing research in the companies. They're not really doing deep dives. Okay, point blank. Period. Okay, so and they're trading ticker symbols. Okay, I'm not doing that. Okay,
well said.
I'm looking at the underlying companies, or I'm not investing. And so there's companies right now like Lion Electric. They're signing deals left and right, and I mean they're building their own battery facility. I mean, and it's like them and Proterra and SoFi. These are companies right now with $200-300 million worth of revenue coming in this year, and they have like 75% compound annual growth. So yes, so SPACs have been decimated, but I'm looking at these companies I look at SPACs as as I always say, as an opportunity to get in early stage companies, probably too early, but that's okay. In some cases, it's too early, maybe for them to come public. But if you've done your research and you know it's a good company, that's what I'm investing in, because I think that these aren't going to be $10 or $15 stocks in 5 or 10 years. Okay, these are the kind of companies that are going to transform possibly your portfolio and your wealth status, right? So that's the way I look at them.
Yeah,
and I say that because right now it's always a lot of these young, newer retail investors. They get shaken out so quick and easy, and it's to your detriment. Not just with SPACs, but with all stocks. It's just
I think to that, man, like I think people need to take a step back and breathe for a second. First thing people want to do when they get involved with investing, and I don't care if it's SPAC investing or whatever it is, if they buy just a stock that goes down, the first thing you want to do is just blame everybody else. And I don't know if it's a habit of the masses or if it's just an inclination of people in general, or if it's a natural reaction to realizing what would have been a paper loss in the short term, right? Just throw in the towel. And the last person that they want to look at is themselves, honestly. I find that ironic, Jason, and here's why. I spend very little of my time looking at other people's program. Very little, if any. I focus on my program most of the time, and what I'm doing methodically in the portfolio right now, isolated into one holding, basically. And I truly understand that the hat that I wear to own a company like SoFi or a Hyliion at this particular point, which, SoFi is the only SPAC I own. Let's be real, Hyliion has went through a firestorm of coming public. I find that all to be tailwind. Like I would rather own it now than before. I mean, go over to the website and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. And, like I said, mark my word, I don't want people, if you want to come in and say, Ryan, you're a terrible investor because of this, this, and this, or if the stock ends up working out, which it will, never been so bullish on a company. You're going to come on the channel and you're going to say, Ryan, you're a great investor. I don't think either one of those are truly fair. I don't think they're fair. I think people just misconstrue investing altogether, and I think it's unfortunate. I really think you need to take some personal responsibility for your own program and know what you're getting into before you get into it. And I'm not saying tell the future, okay? I don't believe in that. But just be patient, man.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I think just this more recent kind of, especially with spec stocks and penny stocks and And the tech stocks, tech growth stocks, a lot of these recently, so everything was working for so long, and now and all of these uh, uh, gurus were coming up supposedly, and now nothing's working for them, right?
Yeah.
And so and like then investors who were newer, now they rely too much on other people's opinions and not their own research and due diligence. So they people get upset and people get rather than this is the time to really dig down and possibly maybe dollar cost average down, or maybe think about your portfolio a whole lot more. So I don't know. It's just I see I've seen a lot go on over the course of the past March 23rd when they hit the
Yeah.
bottom to
Yeah.
now we're kind of having a bit of another reset.
Is that
So
what you, I guess I'm going to defer to you because you've probably been paying more attention over the last month to the market than I have, to be honest. I've really paid a lot of attention to my growth bucket because I'm like a viper. I take opportunity when I see it, and that's what I've been doing. I don't, value is becoming more out of favor every day that goes on, where value creeps up a few bucks, right? Um, where, we were screaming Altria at low 40, high 30s anyway. You had your good entries on Pepsi if that's what you wanted to do. No, we push those awareness pieces out there, and I fear that people may be just flooding into these stocks now based on what? Because it makes sense to you, because others are telling you, hey, or in the short term, it's been working out. See, that's where I think the danger is, Jason. Like, if you can succeed at SPAC investing, you can succeed in any style of investing, no matter what, as long as you're willing to acknowledge that what goes on in the short term is irrelevant. What I mean by that is there's always opportunities in the market all the time. So if you want to buy into, and you might be right. I mean, you said that if there's a little bit of hiccup or whatever, there's a correct. The market to me looks like it's near all-time highs. That's what it looks like to me, and that's just with my lens and my perspective. So I think it's been really isolated to tech, and I think I've heard you say too that the SPAC market is somewhat tied to the Qs, right? To the NASDAQ market. Is that correct?
Amplified, but yes.
Amplified,
So
sure.
I basically now track the Nasdaq, and when and the Nasdaq has been doing the exact opposite of the SPY. So when everything was going, when the hundreds of percent making was going on, the Nasdaq was always outperforming the SPY and the Dow Jones. Now the Dow and the SPY for about a month have been outperforming the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq has been well underperforming those two, and the Dow has been outperforming. So that's the thing. And so whatever the Nasdaq's doing, like probably add 10% per day too. So if Nasdaq's down 1%, SPACs are down 10%. That's how it's literally and same with penny stocks, because I got some guys in my Discord. They're really into penny stocks, and they've been pummeled just the same. I mean, I don't, there's a couple plays that I speculate in, but not really my thing. But it's the same type of concept, because what's happening is, hedge funds have rotated. They rotate, and hedge funds.
Yes, they do.
This was the big money of the market, not you and me, not retail investors. So when they begin a rotation, the rotation is real, and so they call them hedge funds for a reason, because they're always hedging. You and me aren't, right? we're looking long term, but they're just trying to protect money. They're just protect the money, protect money, protect money. Protect losses, just make gains. So, during a time like this, that's what's happening big time. So they've been trying to protect the gains from the past 18, 16 months from big growth stocks. They've been selling them.
Do you think there's somewhat of a sell-off going on in the SPAC market? Is that what you think's maybe going on? because I've read everything out there, and I hate to keep coming back to Hyliion, but it's obviously being driven down for whatever reason. Markets are always right, okay, even though at times they can be wrong. If you just heard me on that, that's a golden saying, and I don't think I heard it anywhere, but I just made it up on the fly. But it's very true. It's very true. So, there has been some serious profit winning over the last couple months in the SPAC and the tech market. You could have made some serious money. Big tech actually was delayed about a month of the SPAC downturn if you were kind of tracking it on the nose. But I'm not sure. I think you're right. I think there's been a rotation of big money. That's for sure. I think if they were going to forecast a correction or a downturn in the stock market, one that'll get my attention, because again, I'm in the camp of I don't see what everybody's all up in arms about. I don't see it. I remember just last year around this time. As a matter of fact, what are we? March 26th today?
3 days. Yeah.
March 18th, right, was the pandemic low last year. So we're looking at about a year ago, the Dow was at 18.2. And here everybody's talking about come hell or high water, this market's going to crap. And here we are over 33,000 on the Dow. I think the market's overinflated. That's what I think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like if you like, so I recently seen the SPAC. There's a SPAC tracking index. It tracks the SPAC market,
Okay.
and there's another one that tracks the IPO market. Both of those have fallen 24% or 25%. Okay,
Yep.
so those have fallen in about a month. So whereas the overall, like Nasdaq's down maybe 8%, over a month's time, and Dow and SPY not so much. But the Dow and the SPY are only 530 companies, out of 3,500 in the stock market. So, or no, even more than that right now, much more than that now. 4,000 plus, I guess, companies.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's so 23, 25%. That's for the commons. If you're in warrants, you're getting assault, you're getting pummeled. So
I've got warrants right now in SoFi. I'm good with it. I'm going to keep them to conversion. I'm good there. Because those are just my two speculation companies and I did due diligence on a lot of companies that I didn't buy. I was burned on one, and that's the one that I regret. Being down on SoFi, I'm fine with. Correct. Being down on Hyliion right now, it phases me not. It phases me not. We'll be fine. And again, if my time horizon was what I said it was, I'm interested to see and evaluate where this is in around the 2024, 2025 timeframe. I really want to see this thing come to a head. And when you said premature, I guess that's always been my bearish case on Hyliion, is that, the bearish nature of the company is that it's pre-revenue, right? So they're trying to do a lot. If you listen to that earnings call, they talked about a quality control piece on their hybrid system where they pulled it back and ran it through the ringer, and upgraded everything: packaging, durability, quality, upgraded it with the new battery module, right? And you start to question and look at things like that. It's like, man, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I looked at it as a great thing. Before they start putting this thing out, Detroit Diesel actually suffered from this some many years ago, where they didn't do quality control on the blocks that they were putting out. And a bunch of their engine blocks went out to the Freightliners and they were getting cracks. So you can imagine cracks in the block of their Freightliners. And then they have to go and they have to recall all those products back. You got to make sure that your ducks are in a row before you're starting to scale up and do mass ordering. So for me, I was like, that's great, but we're just a little premature on it. That's all. But it's going to be fun to see it evolve from really start to something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, I don't know if I can. I don't know when I was articulating that, if I was sounding negative on that. To me, it's like I said. It's
some are considering it a negative, Jay. That's why I
Well,
brought it up.
I'm talking about like the ability to get in these companies this early is,
Yep.
I view it as something amazing where, because, when you have the IPOs, we always, retail investors always get shafted, and we always have to, you would have to overpay for those kind of companies. And
Yeah.
here it is. There's a leveling of the playing field with SPACs, right? So, except for when if they run way up and then you buy at the top, then of course, yes, then you may have to,
Yeah.
deal with lots of lower volatility than, But I'm really am thinking also, like the companies that I invest in, very long term, and like I said, I think they can be life changing companies. So,
Yeah.
so it is what it is. So in times like this, when I kind of, I know, like, even like I say this because I feel like there are some people that kind of, look to me in some regards, not only just on YouTube, but my
That's right.
Discord. I got a decent Patreon following, and
That's right.
I'm not right now. I'm not doing much, and because the only thing I've been doing is any little bit of free cash that I've had, I've been adding to positions, and so you know, whereas I see other people trying to just not speculative investors. I'm talking about who have YouTube content channels and stuff, and they're
Yeah.
scrambling around. They're trying to find the next one. They're making all these moves, doing all
Yeah.
this. So what's the next 2x, 5x, or how can I get into options now? Calls, puts, X,
Yeah.
Y, Z. Whatever, all this other stuff. Trying to find all these alternatives just because your portfolio is down a little bit.
It's a
It's a stock.
fool.
It's a stock market. It's volatile. You're in volatile. If you're investing in SPACs, they're volatile stocks. Just deal with it. This is what it is.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I'm trying to get across is I'm not doing much, and
Yeah.
I'm like you. I can stand my portfolio being hammered a little bit down a little bit, maybe more than a regular portfolio. It is what it is. I've been adding more.
Let me ask you something, man. For the betterment of the group, how many hammerings have you gone through in your investing career? Because you've been investing 3, 4 years now, right, Jason? You, the reason why I say that, and I'll preload the question by saying this, it's not until you go through that hammering and stay true to your program that you really internalize and validate it for yourself. Like even right now, you're kind of like looking at it and you're like, okay, God, this is not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun, right? But you're right. Two prongs in what you're talking about. I think people always want to just fix it. We're
Right.
human. When we see something going wrong, right?
Start hand wringing.
Well, we apply this methodology in all that we do. If something's wrong with our body, we go to the doctor. I just had my tooth fixed this week. Something was wrong with it, so I got to do something. I got to go get it fixed. Something happens with the car. The kids get sick, right? Anything happens, I got to fix it, right? Stock market investing is the only thing that does not require that. As a matter of fact, it's a fool's game if that's what you're looking to engage in. And check yourself. Because if you're looking to make a wrong a right, or you're perceived wrong into a right by acting upon it, I would presume that some of that acting upon is based on some emotional content. And you know what they say about emotional content in investing. And I'm not trying to tell people how to live their life, man. I'm not. It's just that if you came onto this live stream and you're looking for a little bit of insight on what it really takes to be a successful investor, Jason, you're talking about a lot of different data coming from your rather large audience, and there's value in that data. And I would say that the masses right now, the vast majority, are probably having a reaction to this market that is counterproductive to a long-term mindset. I would speculate.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Let's see. They're talking crypto in the comments.
That's because Kyle's in the comment. I think he's probably going to put a rivet. he was like, man, Ryan, this is great. And I was like, yeah, I've studied up on it. I think it's great. I would like to transact in cryptocurrency. I really would. I just don't feel 100% confident yet. Maybe my confidence in the transacting the way I do with currency is my deficiency. In other words, I've got that, that trust and confidence in my financial institutions, right, to back my crypto number. Because let's be real, that's what it is. Okay, everybody thinks that it's about the George Washington piece of paper. It's not. Okay, it's about your number, and your number is a digital form of stored value. It's just that the form of value that backs that is the dollar, rather than the stored form of acknowledged value of Bitcoin, right? And he was talking to me about how you actually own it. I don't know. It makes me nervous, in allotting some of my dollars to that, without knowing enough about it. And I'm just going to continue to give it more time.
Yeah, yeah. See, Ryan says, they're talking. I guess it's hitting 60K now. Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin has Bitcoin. I said Bitcoin has hit 60 or so K, and they're talking, 150K and whatever. You know what? It's my thing is, I didn't buy when it was way down, so there's no way I'm going to chase up. I'm not, you know what I mean. So that's just my thing. I missed it, and I'm okay with that. And I'm not going to chase. I'm not going to chase something that now I feel like is too elevated to levels that I just, there's no way I feel comfortable in putting like U.S. dollars into something not backed by anything. I don't care what anyone says; it's still not backed by anything.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same. And look, it goes back to the philosophy of you don't always have to jump on everything that you see. Okay. If you're engaged in the social media landscape all the time, it's as if people are being consumed in this vortex of FOMO opportunity all the time. And it's like, just sit back for a second and chill the freak out. Like, people have survived for centuries and centuries before Bitcoin. Okay, if you sometimes you need to pass, it's okay. Maybe we need to let it settle out. See, that's the thing. Is what I study is I am very interested in the technology of the blockchain and the security surrounding transactions. Right, the very nature of me sending a transaction to my friend in Canada, right, and having the integrity of that transaction secure. I like that. Do I think that Bitcoin is the primary mode of that? Well, right now it's got a hell of a head start. It's got a Tesla head start. Is it going to be the primary in 10 years? I don't know. It's fine, and I'll observe. It's no big deal. But as far as putting my money to work right now, I'm just not quite there. And I think I would be there. I think I'd throw a $500, $1,000 bill if somebody could walk me through the actual stored ownership of said currency. And what he was mentioning is Ryan, you should just put $50 in it and start to transact with it, and just to kind of get used to it a little bit. Now that I'm interested in, I am interested in kind of understanding the ins and outs of it. I'm just not quite there yet, man. That's just me. No big deal.
And I was invested in the crypto, and I remember sending, especially, if you're buying it on the brokers like Robinhood, dare I say, or SoFi, or these kinds of brokers, or Coinbase, you can feel pretty safe and secure that, and you really, there's no real delay with your purchase of it at that point, But like if you really use it, like use it where you got, I don't, like I guess cold storage, I guess it's still a thing. I don't know, but where but like Bitcoin is very slow, and like I remember when I used to buy Bitcoin, and I would send Bitcoin, and sometimes it would be an hour later, and you still couldn't get a confirmation that it had went, and you're like, oh my goodness, did I just lose that? So there's this. If you actually using crypto and like transferring it from like Binance to KuCoin, if people, maybe if you're old school, you might remember KuCoin. Some of the people who invest in crypto, Like if you're moving your crypto from one exchange to the other, there's like this huge delay, and your stomach drops. You feel like, all right, is it going to actually get there? So the real usage of it, I've actually getting the private key and sending it. If you lose that private key, like if you actually really own it on some cold storage,
excuse me,
then there's actually work in truly owning it. You're on your own, not on exchanges.
Yeah. Well, Kyle was telling me Coinbase is not the way to own it. You've got to have a digital wallet is the best way to own it, which, what you speak about, Jason, you've been doing, you used to mine this stuff, right?
Yeah, I used to run master nodes. That's what they're called. What they were called.
Right.
And I used and you spin up a VM and start mining with in a network of nodes. And so I don't know if that's actually still a thing, but I don't know. I know the tech's been changing and evolving over 2 or 3 years, so I've been disconnected. I'm not that in the know.
He showed me his scan code on his iPhone, and he was like, "I could send you money in a matter of seconds, Ryan." He says it's that quick. It's just like, so yeah, and that's part of. I told him, I said, look, if it's been around, I think 10 years. I don't know. I might be way off on that. It seems like at least 10 years it's been around. That seems fairly new to me. For something that I'm supposed to just take my entire life savings and dump it on Bitcoin? Or am I supposed to buy into these methodologies of taking 5% of my net worth and putting it into Bitcoin? I mean, that 25, 30 grand seems obnoxious to me to do that. I think I would be more in the game of, 500 to $1,000 just to throw into it. Again, if I could feel very, very confident in what I was getting involved with, have a little more confidence in the value piece. And I know Kyle was going down this road with me. We just ran out of time before the stream, but I don't like something that one day is worth something that is worth something significantly different the next day. In other words, yeah, it's at 60,000 now, but does it have a potential to go to 75 in a month, or does it have a potential to go to 40 next month?
Yeah, that's why it can't be. I mean, as much as many, as everyone who is a Bitcoin enthusiast thinks that, or promotes that, not necessarily Bitcoin, but some crypto is going to be a currency. The only ones that will be are something that's stable coin that's backed by something else. So, because then it's always has a stability like a USD, like a US dollar. So, so these aren't going to be currencies. I think the digital gold aspect of it is like the the big kind of looking at it like gold, right? I can see it actually replacing gold, right? But how many people that invest in Bitcoin were before there was Bitcoin were bullish on gold? Exactly. So were you investing in gold before you invested in Bitcoin? If there really are the same sort of similar asset class, if they're going to be,
I personally think they're just drastically different. I could make a case to own both, and I currently don't own either one, and I am pursuing an end later on in life where I do in fact own both. So I'm not really sure if I like to speak in definitives that way. That's just me. I want them all. It's just I'm not rich, so I don't have all this money to just sit here and be like, yeah, sure, I want to do this and I want to do that. And you've got guys like Ryan Giffen who are saying this. I'm gonna leave this question to you. Why do you think his sentiment is along that line? Because that type of stuff scares me. I don't, if I invested $1,000 and I lost it all next week because do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't. I think cryptocurrency is here to stay. That's just my opinion. Okay. But I'm not investing based on that premise. Okay. I'm investing based on my real criticisms of its utility. I do not question. Okay. I get it. It's stored form of value. I get it. There's just a few specifics in the trenches that I just can't wrap my mind around just yet. And I'll continue to be patient until then.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just throwing out hypotheticals. And you and me talking about it, we probably do to the comment section sound like boomers, but that's okay. That's okay. We can be that, you know. But there's still though I do throw that out to anyone who's like a Bitcoin maximalist, okay, were you ever as bullish on gold as you are on Bitcoin?
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I guess I would be interested to understand more of these people out there. If all these people are supposed to be, jumping out of helicopters with their parachutes of gold, I guess I would like to meet more of those people. If the opportunity is so solvent and so open to the masses out there, I guess I would like to understand a little bit more about the actual trade that got them to that end. And then I would ask, okay, is it scalable for the masses? Like, is my question is everybody getting rich off of Bitcoin right now? I mean, Ryan Giffen seems to think that most people are going to lose on Bitcoin, and I would say he's right on the money there. But I would expand upon that and say that most people will figure out a way to lose, not only in the stock market but in life in general, even with plenty of opportunity laid out in front of them. And
once there's some volatility. Once there's any type of different next shakeout with Bitcoin, then we'll come back and discuss and see who hung out and stayed in it.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that philosophy holds true across the board. I think, unfortunately, people who deploy a long-term mindset in stock market investing is in the severe minority most of the time, and I've never understood that. It's part of the vein of my channel, and I think it's part of the vein of yours and many others as well, to say, look, guys, I mean, there's some real results here. This is what I'm doing. This is what works, and this is how I do it. And more importantly, I've got this by not doing these things, and this is what a lot of people are doing.
For sure.
It's important.
Yeah. Anyone got any questions in the comment section they want to look into?
I'm checking here,
it's a lot of crypto chatter, but let's see.
I think Kyle will probably get on this
tonight in his stream.
Tonight he will. He says it's not about getting rich. I actually agree. And the funny thing about Kyle is that he's the type of investor that can actually handle this. Like, it makes perfect sense for him. Here's a guy that probably does more research than most people who are justifying Bitcoin as an investor are probably doing 10% of the research he's doing. He's got the tolerance for it. He's got the portfolio for it as well. It's just that if you're jumping into this thing to get rich, like he says he's not, maybe that's a little misguided. It always comes back for me to why invest. I can tell you why I invest in every one of the holdings I own, every one of them.
Peter Lynch, one of my favorite quote from Peter Lynch is, know what you own, and know why you own it. If you can do those two things, then when volatility, if you have done enough research to be able to answer those two questions, then you'll be able to hold through volatility during a downturn. If not, then if you bought because Jimmy's YouTube channel, you saw a video on it and you were like, man, Jimmy's bullish on that. I think I'm gonna buy some too. If that was your thesis, when it begins to go down, you're gonna sell. That's just the way this thing goes. Or you read an article on Investor Place or Benzinga, and you're like, they said that's the top 3 stocks to buy right now. And this, as as hedge funds are shifting money, the top 3 stocks to buy right now, and you bought them, and then Then the hedge funds shift again, and they start going down. You see what I'm saying? So it's a never-ending cycle.
For sure.
It's funny.
It says, can we talk about VTI and VYM? Sure, quickly. Here's a funny thing about it. I'll give you my twist on these ETFs. I own them both. And you know what's funny about these ETFs in general, is that when they're doing what they're doing right now, everybody loves them. Okay? They love them. The funny thing is, man, we get a slight hiccup in the stock market and they start going down. I'll start to hear everything that I've heard over the years that are correct assessments on ETFs, is that when you own the bag on the way up, it's nice. But when you own the bag on the way down, everybody wants to bitch and complain. And trust me, I'll get that bitching and complaining. Here's what I'll say. The reason why I own them both, and I will say that VTI, VYM, and my Roth is a pretty nice position. I own about 125 shares or so, 15,000 or so. Nothing crazy. It's one of the biggest positions in my Roth IRA, right? It pays a nice 3% yield. It's a nice basket of dividend-paying stocks. I put zero effort into owning it, which is big for me because my time is vested elsewhere. I don't have to worry about that 15, 16, 17,000 that's in there, right? Sit back, rake in the dividend for the rest of my life. I'm good to go. VTI, I own a relatively small position, about 25 shares or so in the taxable brokerage account. I don't foresee that getting any larger right now because of what I said at the top of the stream. I feel like the stock market is relatively high. So is now a time where I want to be putting $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 bills into VTI? It doesn't make sense to me. I'll dollar cost average it. Yes. I'll dividend reinvest the dividends that are paid, the small 1.75 yield that it's rendering. And I'm good with that. But there is absolutely a deeper conversation when it comes to these holdings. If you're a 20-year-old and you just want to be a passive investor, you can own these for the rest of your life. I think some rules surrounding both of these is to own them and never sell them. But I think the real deeper question is, to what scale do you want to own these, right? In other words, if you want to get invested right now and you've got your first $10,000 and you came to me and said, I want to put this entire 10,000 on VTI, I would pause. I would pause before I would say, yeah, just go ahead and do that. Jason, do you have an idea about that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like you. I mean, I think they're really good tools in your portfolio. They're tools to learn. In the beginning of an investing career, they're really awesome. Especially VTI is the whole market, right? Is that the one that's the whole market? Yeah,
total market. Yeah.
And VYM is a high yield one, right? High yield, what it's called a high yield dividend, but it's actually very, very high quality because that's the thing too. I say the same thing about ETFs that I say about stocks is you still should know what's in them and know what they are because there are some that what's the one that the other high yield dividend, what's that one, I can't remember.
SPHD.
SPHD, yeah. And if you look at the quality of holdings in VYM compared to the top 10 holdings, just do the top 10 VYM versus SPHD, it's night and day. And but there's people who are SPHD, just diehard people. Do they really know what's behind their ETFs? So that's the same way. So the same principles apply, but like you said, it's a little bit. It's more passive. It's an easier approach, hands off. But you should still do the investigation to the ETFs as well. VTI is going to be very self-explanatory. VOO is going to be very explanatory. The ones that are the indexes, but all these niche market ones, there's a bunch of them coming up. Obviously now, you got ones that are bets, BETZ, and all these little very niche ones. Dig into them. Make sure you know what you own inside of those ETFs too. That's my only thing I would say.
Yeah, no, I say, to the visitors to the channel that deserve my unique opinion, I will say that owning VTI and the nature of how you own any equity speaks volumes to the returns that you're going to render over the years. Okay, so owning VTI in a Robinhood account is going to perform differently than owning VTI in a Roth IRA. Okay. And if you just heard what I said, it's a very, very big fundamental piece of investing that people miss all the time. You really need to understand the nature by which you own certain assets and make sure that you're aligning the correct bucket to house those assets. Okay. Very, very important.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Fantastic, man.
Well, I know we got about 5 minutes, Ryan. So you may let you close out. Are you going long now? Are you going?
No, I'm not going to overlap with the boys, man. I might kick over there and hang out a bit, man. I'm going on 2 weeks of well-deserved leave here, so I am a happy man tonight. I really am. So, but thanks, Jay, for coming on, man. It's always a pleasure, and just wish you and your family all the best. You know, get that house built. I know you got some exciting stuff going on. Go ahead.
We got our closing date set on that, so we April 29th, I think. So
right around the
there
corner.
You go. Yeah, so very soon. So
congrats.
Appreciate
I'm gonna bring you a bottle of wine. It's tradition.
Let's do it. Let's sit around. Let's sit around on the back patio.
I love it, man. Life is good, Jay. Thanks for coming on tonight, brother.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
You got it. Later, man.
Take care.
Yeah, so like usual, so Jay comes on very frequently on the live stream. Like I said, some Fridays I run it myself, and I enjoy doing that. But having Jay on is a special treat for me. It's kind of like a break for me having to come on and give you my chainsaw voice for 60 minutes. Although I do like doing that on occasion, especially when I've got a lot to say. I kind of feel like we're in a bit of a lull period in the market. I think that this is somewhat of a plateau top. I do. I know there's some conversations about this being the calm before the storm to the upside. That's great. I always say live to win in either market, a down or an up market, and I do. I don't shy away from allowing the portfolio to run and just work while I'm doing other things. All right. So super, super important. But wish you guys all the best. Absolutely. I think I got to everybody tonight. I got to the bottom of all the questions tonight. But like I said, please understand, we will be increasing the frequency again. I'm coming to the end of my break on my upload schedule a little bit. I've been doing pretty frequently, pretty good, but it's been very busy on other fronts in the independent investor household. And like I said, I deploy the same mindset with YouTube as I do with my investing journey. I really do. And, one of my good friends, Nate O'Brien, released a video today speaking on this very thing. I think too much social media is unhealthy. I do. I think it's unhealthy. I think the majority of our time should be out exploring the world, not sitting in front of a computer. But this is the fastest 60 minutes on YouTube. It's fast 60 minutes for me, especially when I have a guest come on, like Jay. He's a frequent guest of the channel. He's a member of the family anyway. But you guys don't know, he runs 3 channels. So just link over to those. I'm a fan of the Sports Card channel, but you want to kick over and help him support. He's just building the message as I am as well. And, we want to support the community message in any capacity that we can, guys. So I'm going to scroll up through the comments. I will actually drop one more invite. I've been doing a lot of portfolio building behind the scenes for people. A lot of fun. If you did stick around to the end of this live stream, if you're one of the 76 people, I will announce right now. I should have announced it at the top of the live stream, but I'll announce it now. Mr. Brian is coming on. Mr. Brian Barnes, the CEO of M1 Finance. He'll be a guest on the Independent Investor channel April 11th or April 12th, which is a Monday. Mr. Barnes has agreed to come on and talk with me, which is great. It ought to be riveting. I really want to talk to him. I think he's built a very special tool. I didn't get to do the portfolio reviews tonight, which the 2 M1 Finance portfolios, ironically enough, are both up week over week. whereas the drag on the other portfolios is noticeable. We took a small drag a little bit, no big deal, week over week. But we will have Brian on the channel. Looking forward to that. That's all scheduled, ready to rock. So keep your ears open for that. And you guys will want to be part of that. It's going to be awesome. A lot of you guys utilize M1 Finance for your wealth building, as I do. So with that, guys, we will tune it off. If you guys stick around, the other guys are going to be coming on here live here shortly. And we will be back next Friday on the Independent Investor Channel live stream. Just appreciate the heck out of you guys. Thanks a lot for being part of this movement, part of this community, and doing your part in building wealth for you and your family. Guys, thank you so much. We'll catch you next Friday.